okay, never in the history of how long I've been doing videos or even just the text blogs have I had a record that I knew I was going to blog about that I just sat on for so long. I mean, sometimes, I'll pull aside a record of like, well, that'd be good to do like, a blog about or a video about, and I'll just kind of set it aside and I'll have it, then when I'm stuck like a month later, like, what do I want to blog about? I'll have like a couple good choices that I've set up for myself or something. But this one I've actually known since like 2010 or something. I decided this is what I'm going to blog about today. And here it is. Skills 2002, the wrap-up. 10 years ago today, more or less. Skills, as in Mad Skillz, released his very first wrap-up song, as in his annual tradition of wrap-up, sometimes spelled with the W, sometimes not, but right here on this original wax, it's not, it's just spelled with the R. Wrap-up of the year's events in a kind of a fun rap song where it's all just sort of, basically all boiled down to quick punchlines and pop culture references of everything that happened in the year, and it's a lot of fun. And so this is a Rawkus white label 12-inch, because at the time he was signed to Rawkus, so even though this looks like a pretty generic white label, this is actually semi-officially released through the label, or unofficially, but released by the label. It's just the one track on here, the one version of the track, main version, that's it. See, I mean, it even has a Rawkus catalog number on there. They're not hiding it really, even though it's a white label. I'll play some clips of it and you can hear what was going on 1 decade ago, 10 years ago, right around this time. He does have a new wrap-up. He's still doing them. In the song, he says it's going to be his final wrap-up. We'll see. He said previous years, not in the songs, but in interviews and stuff, that those would be his final wrap-ups, and yet he's continued. Maybe it's more official that he's actually mentioned it in the song, or maybe, in the year 2052, we'll be looking back and laughing at the time that he said this would be his final wrap-up. But anyway, forget about final wrap-ups. This is the first wrap-up. Now this is around the time Skills was produced by Neptunes and Timbaland and Magoo, so I didn't like a lot of his production, frankly. And this intro, not a big fan of it. I thought I wasn't going to like the whole track. Then it changes up and gets pretty smooth.
R. Kelly got caught wild. He sold more sex videos than he did albums. A lot of y'all went down, fam. Y'all did some dumb stuff for SoundScan. The industry did Michael Jackson greasy. Brandy wasn't selling, so she put a pregnancy on TV. Cash Money refused to fly. Baby said, F it, man, I'm taking juvenile spot. Christina Ag, she turned into a slut piece. For her record to sell, she let out all of her butt cheeks. Rap girls, take a lesson from that. Cause nobody remembers a girl that made my neck and my back. And hip-hop was at it again. Sure came home and Slick Rick went back in. Man, y'all took it to the streets again. But this year, a lot of y'all called beef again. JD and Dre started off dissing, and then they stopped when they figured out that nobody was listening.
Perhaps more interesting to hip-hop heads, though, actually is the B-side. The B-side is by Pharoahe Monch, who was also, of course, signed to Rawkus at that time. Now, again, this is obviously around 2002, the end of 2002. It's a 2002 wrap-up, so there's no date on the label. We do know pretty much when it came out. So this is several years after his Rawkus album, Infernal Affairs. And this song, and this we do have a couple versions here, the clean, dirty, and instrumental, is called Ghetto World, and it's otherwise completely unreleased. It's only on this white label 12-inch. But I don't think it was meant to be quite so exclusive when this was released. So again, this came out around 2002, right at the beginning of 2003. If you check out his other Rawkus single from around that time, Agent Orange, if you look at the sticker cover, it says album coming sometime in 2003. So he was meant to have a second Rawkus album. He was signed to Rawkus, they were going to put it out, and then it didn't wind up happening, and he wound up floating around and not putting out an album for years, and eventually he did come out on different labels. But there was going to be a second Rawkus album, and so I'm pretty sure this was just going to be an album track off of it. So this was just sort of an easy preview of what was going to come out on the second album had it ever actually happened. But because it didn't, that makes this white label a pretty neat little exclusive. This is also the only vinyl release of Wrap Up 2002, by the way, so they're both exclusive. But I imagine that was not meant for anything other than this white label, whereas this, again, was probably meant for the album. It's based on an Earth, Wind & Fire song called Getaway. It uses the instrumentals pretty heavily. It's pretty much just a big loop of the song with some, hip-hop drums and stuff added to it. And the hook, it's just sort of a fun play on the hook of Earth, Wind & Fire. It's just a sample, in fact. They don't actually do anything different. But there's a part in the song, in fact, almost throughout the song, but one part especially, where they just sort of, the way they pronounce the words, there's like a lot of R's in there and kind of, get away. So it sounds like they're saying ghetto world. So that's why he calls it Ghetto World, and he just plays this clip of them saying get away, and it sounds more like they're saying ghetto world than get away. So that's what that's based on. It's a fun song. It's actually, I think, one of Munch's better songs, really. I think it's a solid, like Agent Orange, I'm not a big fan of, and I think Munch can be kind of up and down. But I think this song's really tight. I mean, lyrically it's really tight. The beat, okay, it's pretty excessive in its or heavy-handed, I guess I would say, in its sampling of Earth, Wind & Fire, but it still sounds damn good. Munch sounds great on it. It's kind of a nice mix because it's sort of a more disco-y, poppy kind of instrumental, which goes great with his sort of more grittier kind of flow, and he comes with some more kind of challenging lyrics on it. So it's really a perfect dichotomy. I think it sounds great. So again, this is the only place this has been released, so a really nice 12-inch to have for both reasons. I'm going to play a clip of that as well, and that's about it for me. So I will see you guys in 2013. I know I said that in my last video, but I wasn't thinking ahead because I knew I planned to do more stuff before the end of the year. But this time really should be my last one until next year. So either way, see you guys in 2013. Peace out. She sounds like ghetto, right? Of course it's not.
It's ghetto music. People love it. You know you want it. Get up on it. It's ghetto music. It's ghetto music. It's ghetto music. You know you love it. Get up on it and rise above it. It's ghetto music. It's ghetto music. It's yo. Black Jesus on the wall, plastic covers on the couch, go hanging inside the television. You can't fathom, webs on my ass from switches. Yeah, I had them in a dramatic fashion. Get to my soul to rehash about pain over passion, created by the everlasting lust of black youth to have on a lace fashion. When shorties walk around, smoke blunts, drink beer, don't be trying to hear what you be kicking in their ear. And then, hey yo, Queens, get at me. Foul March Noah, couple of cats that might hold something that'll remove your fat without liposuction.